Hey there, Ryker owners, Brandon here with slingmods.com. Today we have our plug-and-play Fender power harness kit for the Can-Am Ryker and Ryker Rally. So up until now, if you wanted turn signal functionality on your dual color LED lighting strips, you'd have to tap into the turn signal wire on both the left and right side of the bike, which can be a bit cumbersome since it requires you to remove both rocker panels and attach T-taps directly onto the turn signal wires. Well, I've got some good news for you today, folks, as we now have a 100% plug-and-play Fender power harness that no longer requires you to tap into those pesky turn signal wires, and will also free up that 12-volt accessory power port under your left-hand side fairing for other mods such as our docking station and fog lights. This 1-into-2 power harness grabs power from the OE front fender light and gives you plug-and-play expansion for any of our single or dual color lighting mods. Now, once installed, you'll have a 3-pin power connector conveniently located here, making future lighting expansion a very simple plug-and-play process. Now, in order to install this harness, you'll need to remove the front fender on each side of the bike so that we can access the wiring underneath the fender. Now let's get started with the install. So start by taking some masking tape and covering up the top of your A-arms. Then, using a 13mm socket, remove these 4 fender screws. Now you can carefully slide your fender over and rest it on top of your A-arms. Now this front fender light is held in place with 3 screws. One is under the OEM reflector and the other 2 are underneath the fender. Now if you've already upgraded to our LED sequential reflectors, you would have already removed the screw behind the reflector and should not have reinstalled it. But if you're still running the stock amber reflectors like our Ryker 600, you're going to need to use a heat gun and pry tool to carefully remove this top amber reflector. And then unscrew this T20 Torque screw that was behind the reflector, as well as these 2 from the underside of the fender that hold the front tip light in place. Now you can unclip the tabs from around the lens, slide the front tip light straight out, and then just push down on this small tab to release the wire clip. Next, you can add a little dab of dielectric grease to the ends of the 1-into-2 splitter from the kit. Then plug the tip light wire into the splitter. Add the extension harness to one of the other ends. And then plug in the tip light. Now reach from underneath and pull this plastic panel down enough to reveal the hole with the factory wiring harness running through it, and insert the other end of the extension harness down and through that same hole. Then tuck in the excess wiring and carefully slide the tip light back in, making sure not to pinch any wires as you snap it back into place and tighten it back down with the 2 T20 Torque screws. Now you can zip tie the extension wire to the existing OEM harness running down the fender and to your A-arm, making sure to keep it tucked in against the inside of the fender and away from the tire. And then finally you can slide your fender back into position and tighten it back down, making sure not to pinch the extension wire we just ran. Now if you want, you can try and salvage the OEM amber reflector we removed earlier, but you'll need to purchase and replace the adhesive backing tape to try and reuse it. Now, if you don't feel like messing around with all that, we do offer replacement OE style amber reflectors that already come equipped with the 3M VHP backing tape. Now, although these replacement reflectors are not included in the kit, we do offer them separately as a pair. So if you do decide to go with our optional replacement reflectors, you'll need to align it into position and make a mark where the post is sticking out from the reflector, and then carefully drill a hole big enough for that post to fit through, making sure you do not drill through the back side of the fender.
Then test fit the reflector to make sure it fits, and if it does, go ahead and take an alcohol prep pad and thoroughly clean the surface area, and let that sit for a minute to dry, before going over the same surface area with the included primer wipe. Now you'll notice that we're not going to be reusing the third screw that holds the rear of the front tip light in place. Well, that's because Can-Am, for whatever reason, hid the third screw underneath the reflector, so that if you ever needed to remove the front tip light again to access the wiring, you can't, unless you destroy the tape holding the new reflector in place. So now peel off the protective backing tape from the reflector, line it up so that it's straight, and carefully push down into position, making sure not to push down too hard on the reflector. Now run the rest of the extension along the bottom side of your upper A-arm and zip tie it up and out of the way. And then you can pull off the masking tape and just repeat that same process for the other side.
And there you have it, folks. So now that these front fender harnesses are installed on each side of the bike, you're all wired up for plug and play expansion for any of our single, dual, or sequential lighting mods. So if a plug and play fender power harness kit is on your mod list, be sure to head on over to sleekmods.com today or click the link in the description below to grab one for yourself. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so I can keep you up to date on everything Ryker. I'm Brandon, signing out. Till next time.